Hello folks, just a quick one about philosophy and how it helps to clear mind space. So in your mind you may have lots of thoughts going on and you want to be focusing in on certain things, but you can't because you're thinking of the COVID, you're watching the news, all the terrible this or that, the other. So philosophy, all of these people, the philosophers, Nietzsche being a great one, Goethe being another great one, Aristotle being a fantastic one, Plato, you know, these people have thought through all those things. Schopenhauer, another one. Martin Heidegger, a great one. Carl Jung, another. So there's some people who you can look at. Just put in famous quotes from, Shakespeare. Just put in famous quotes from Shakespeare. And you can't help but receive the message at a philosophical level. So what it does, it does multiple things on multiple levels, and depending on how you sort of can contextualize, which the more that you look at these things, the more context that you'll bring into your own mind. So your logical thought patterns will be much more related to your creative thought patterns, your left, right brain hemispheres. Like your left brain is more the logical, academic, needs to formulaic, needs to put things as step, step, step. That's your logical brain. On your left brain, your right brain is more the dreamy sort of, I want to spend time, riding horses in the countryside and climbing mountains, and the dream aspect, like the the fantasy, the imagination, the creative side. So when you blend those two sides of your hemispheres, I think it's called the medulla oblongata, I think it's called that. So that is like a bridge that can cross over. Now these philosophers, they've delved deep into their psyche and deep into their, what resonates with their body to bring structure to their ideas of philosophy, philosophical ideas. So it helps you to step up, and as you keep stepping up, and I'm not stepping up, I'm stepping forward as a metaphor or an analogy to bring, some realness. Put on your 3D glasses now, right? So it allows your consciousness to expand, which creates like freedom in your mind to begin now focusing. Now I've found the last few months I've been messing with it, and like I've done meditation for years, but the thing is, I didn't really understand it until recently. I've really understood meditation at a profound level. I consider it profound because I'm seeing great results. So the thing is, when you're meditating, you observe your thoughts. So obviously, by observing your thoughts in the first instance, you're gonna see lots of layers of thought garbage all over the place. It's probably relevant, probably not relevant. It depends. A lot of thought patterns repeat, repeat, repeat. You could think of a thought pattern that you had from when you were a child is probably still quite prominent in your mind when you offered to look at something from that time. So basically, again, what's the saying? Standing on the shoulders of giants. So Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, Aristotle, Plato, Heidegger, Jung. There's a good little gang to stand on their shoulders to elevate your consciousness. So say you've read and Shakespeare. So say you've read a few of their things. You've read a few of their quotes, even just daily quotes or quotes for living, life hacks, these type of things. Like this little short video is like a philosophical life hack. So when meditating, this is really cool actually. To understand your thought threads, the way I've been doing it is like when I have a thought thread, I'll try and understand the logic, like try and grasp that one thought, just even for a fraction of a second, just to bring some reality, some tangibility to it, so I can like bring analysis, and then I can say, is it useful or is it not useful, like really binary. And I've recently come across what seems to be a good meditation channel called Meditation Vacation, and that is it's quite illuminating, because I was already doing this process and then I came onto this channel, and I've just been practicing with that now that I think on. But basically, this is building discipline in your mind. This is how to analyze the thoughts that you want in your mind versus the thoughts that you don't want in your mind. So for example, by not understanding philosophical aspects, what's the context of philosophy and how it relates to myself or to, everyone on a daily basis. Joe Bloggs on the street there, he starts meditating on the thought, well, I want to increase, my fitness level. I want to enjoy a better lifestyle. I want to feel more at ease around, more comfortable in my body, more comfortable socially, more comfortable looking at business opportunities, more comfortable just in a general aspect, more comfortable in my thought processes, because basically, inherently, we all contain our own particular thought paths, our thought processes, and our outer shell, our material body, physical body as it were, can actually aid us, but is not actually us in respect to, by building will, we can generate how we wish to be. So if I kind of slump down like this and, sort of just sink into not activating something more which is more alive, then I can really understand my physiology. Like my shoulders could be slumping. It's habit forming, so can relate to Alexander technique for this, because that works on habits, not only habits of the physical but habits of the mental aspects. So there's quite a lot to sort of take in. But if you said like, okay, I'm going to spend one day, I'll just have like 5 minutes looking on happy quotes or life quotes or whatever quotes, just to understand a little bit of the concept of how philosophy helps to guide one through life's path with ease, with more ease. And then once you sort of like nailed a little bit of that, then you can go, okay, well, I've just proved to myself, because you basically will. I mean, there must have been at least one quote that you've seen that's resonated somehow. And if there isn't, I'm sure you can find one. Even do a search until you do find one where you go, well, that's touched me like it struck a chord, because basically we do relate to music, and music has chords, but our lives are not harmonious. So we can orchestrate our lives to be harmonious by looking at these philosophers. They're like composers of life, and we can sort of jump on their bandwagon, as it were. We don't have to go all mad promotional. Like, you just sort of help to understand it for yourself, and how the life lessons of philosophy can relate, because not all of the life lessons on happy quotes or life quotes or whatever will directly relate to every single aspect. But what it does is it gives you some key to be moving forward, to be like, rather than being lost, it's like a torch in the dark. It begins to inflame, and the light around you begins to grow bigger, so that your orientation, you know, your self-awareness becomes more grown, more developed, and more useful, more beautiful. So you fall into this mindset, this like spiritual activity at a philosophical level. It's easy for you to say. And, this is where an aspect of such a thing as like heaven on earth, or as above, so below. So people say like, oh, his head's in the clouds, he's a dreamer. Yeah, it's because they're not grounded. So you can easily get grounded. Just start doing toe exercises, wriggling your toes, thinking about how your toes move. There's some great feet exercises like physiotherapy and reflexology and these types of things. And, start walking either without shoes or without shoes and socks, and just getting your nervous system to understand um, the path, rather than just being cerebral the whole time. And again, with your hands, you could do things like I play guitar, I write with a pen, pencil a lot, sketch and draw. I do physical activities, training. You can do some juggling. I do sword play, martial arts. So all of these things, they help increase the path that, your brain is basically the top end of your nervous system. So by encouraging the rest of your body, and eat well as well, eat as much fresh fruits and vegetables as you can sort of handle, and carbs and proteins, and then fish if you like non-vegetarian or whatever. Just do what you can to sort of allow your body to be more in tune with nature. Again, back to the music metaphor, the song of life is the song of the heart. So by understanding this like bioresonance, as it were, this biofeedback. So you have a thought, and it's like you can garner that thought as like, that's a next step. Another thought, okay, now momentum moves, and you begin to open up an awareness of your orientation. I was standing on the train yesterday, and I was really aware of my presence as the train was moving, and it was glorious, like, because the sort of like there'd been lots of rain, and the clouds was dissipating, and the sun was starting to shine through, and the blue sky, and like traveling on the train, all the trees and everything, and it was like, wow, I really got a great sense of my whole body, and being around people, and sort of like the space around me, and I was holding a rail, for support, because it was coming to me stop. And it was just a really great feeling of oneness, of connectedness to a greater whole. I don't want to sound too like hippie-ish, but like the advancement of spirituality, philosophy, as it relates even to politics and to law. These are the laws of nature. These are the laws of nature that have been sort of like not taught to us, the philosophical aspects. You've got to reach a high degree of consciousness academically to go to university, where they'll, make sure that you never become someone like a Nietzsche or a Goethe or a Schopenhauer. Or in fact, Goethe is amazing, actually. I forgot to mention him in the the gang there, Aristotle or Plato. These people ran schools, and there's not so much of that now. It's all became politicized and weaponized against, you know, the group mentality, growing in a healthy way, developing in a philosophical sense, where it becomes a key to have a well-structured mind that can understand, well, creatively, I don't need to even refer back to some other referential point. I can actually visualize how this will play out. So it gives you it's called like a creative thinking mind, where it's like a planned mind. So for example, if you watch the scenario X, you watch scenario X in a play, like the Scooby-Doo ending, as like probably a bit pop culture, because that's from, what is it, the Mike Myers video, not Austin Powers, Wayne's World. So the film, for example, they have like a cheaper actor come on, and he does a speech, and then they replace him with Charlton Heston, and he does the same speech, and you're like, wow, you're nearly crying, because the quality of the presentation is so much of a higher level. It's honed to a higher degree, and that's what philosophy can do to your thought process. So I think I've covered a lot of ground there, and hopefully that gives you something to work with, where um, you know you can learn from these great masters who've been before us, and we have like amazing accessibility to them now, especially in these times of COVID. We're all just getting back to normal or whatever, normal. And they're going to pull this Indian strain on us, like Modi being a great friend of the king of Mordor. So we actually need it. We desperately need to be more in tune with how to function our mind, how to function our soul and our spirit, how to have this like deep connection of wholeness and oneness of ourselves, in order to like be solid and be convicted in our pursuits, in life, liberty and happiness type of thing. So we're not like wishy-washy pushovers. We're men of steel, ubermensch, and yeah, we bring it, like. So that's it.